What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we got an interesting one here. We got 10 whitest countries outside of Europe. Now, disclaimer, this video is not about race. When it comes to, conflict, controversy, different things. I'm sure the world according to Briggs just did like a poll and, had people like put what they thought and stuff like that. So this is not to, no discrimination and all these different things like that. Just an interesting video to see, because I think he got like the 10 blackest countries or the blackest cities and stuff like that, 10 the whitest cities in the US, different things. So please, if you don't take offense if you that type of person. This is for entertainment purposes and for me to see what's the whitest country outside of Europe, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all know I see these videos, I see, little specks of colored people most times, not too many times. So, but that still wouldn't stop me from going. So we finna jump into this, check it out, see what it's about. Y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations.
Today I'm going to tell you about the 10 countries with the highest percentage of white residents outside of Europe, and I'm sure some will surprise you. Welcome back to World According to Briggs. After we did our black and white series, I got a lot of requests to do the same thing for countries. I did a little research and decided to go with the whitest countries outside of Europe and Scandinavia. Now I have to throw in Scandinavia there because there's some people on this planet that don't think Norway, Sweden, and Finland are part of Europe. They are part of Europe, but some people scour YouTube videos for anything that they can consider a mistake and then try and turn it into their gotcha moment for the day. I really shouldn't complain about those people because in reality, they've really helped this channel grow. In case you don't know, comments, whether they're good or bad, help a channel grow. Now, what is considered a white person? We've used people with European origin to define the term white in this video. White obviously isn't a race, even though it's a race choice when you apply to be a night cook and boxing coach at Waffle House. I remember all the paperwork I filled out for the military. They're all, what's your race? White, black, Hispanic, other. Now for this video, we got our stats from the CIA website. And yes, they publish things like that. And when we could find the info, we cross-referenced that with the country in question's website. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look.
Get it.
Number 10, South Africa.
First?
This one should be a surprise to anyone that's really not up on their geography or their world politics.
Yeah, I ain't gonna, this is, I guess I probably didn't expect it, but I definitely don't surprise me because I've heard this, I've been studying a little bit of Africa and looking, and it's probably the most, I would say, it's probably more white people there, but I've seen other people say it's more diversity there for sure.
Over the last 30 years. I mean, most people are going to think Africa. Shouldn't that be like 99% African people and 1% rich European white guys on safaris? The fact is, no, that's not how it is. South Africa has a complex and sometimes troubled racial past. For decades, they had a form of racial segregation that they called apartheid. And it wasn't until the 1990s that the government began to dismantle the oppressive system. They've got a long way to go, but Africa since the 90s has been working towards a better way of getting along, I guess you could say. More equal and just society. South Africa has a population of just about 60 million, with about 9% being considered white.
That 9% is high. That's a big percent.
Number 9, Mexico. Now, when you think of Mexico, you might think of tacos, sombreros, and tequila. And that's the stereotypes. Those are well-deserved stereotypes because you can get some incredible tacos there. Who doesn't love a sombrero? And they make really good tequila. But the fact is, Mexico's a pretty cool country. They've got some problems, especially recently with all their cartel issues. But did you know that Mexico is home to some of the world's most breathtaking beaches? That's right, you can find crystal clear water and white sand shores in places like Cancun and Tulum. If you're feeling adventurous, you could go all the way out to Cozumel, which is a little island out there, and swim with some dolphins. I will be doing that in 3 weeks. Now, this one surprised me, and I kind of went against what I give people a hard time about. Your opinion doesn't matter when it comes to the stats. In my opinion, I think this one's a little off, because I know a lot of people that have moved down to Mexico. I grew up in Southern California, and a lot of people I know went down and, started living in Mexico. Some of them are still there. Now, I know deep down the stats are closer to reality than my opinion, but it's still kind of weird to me. The population of Mexico is about 127 million residents, with about 10% being considered white.
I didn't know that, but it's weird because like if you're Hispanic or anything like that, when you come to the States, when I was working in schools and stuff, we had to give kids like this little, it was like a little survey type thing and a little paper to like get their information, And most kids, they were like, what do I put? What do I put? Because they never had Hispanic or Mexican on there. I think as your race or nothing like that, they never had anything for Hispanic. They only had the ethnicity, and they had to put other than Hispanic, and then we had to go around, or later on, like my supervisor told us, hey, we can't put other no more when it comes to somebody that's Hispanic or anything. So they have to put white and put Hispanic. So I don't know why I told y'all that, but I mean, I'm just trying to make sense of the point of, the population type of thing that in America, at least for that information, they have to put white. Then their ethnicity is Hispanic. So very interesting, just like this. But that's a 10%. That's very interesting amount though in Mexico. What is it? Colombia?
Number 8, Colombia.
Wow.
Another surprise. I like Colombia. I've been there a few times. The first time I went there it was a little scary. It was late 80s, early 90s. But it's nothing like it was back then. They still have some issues, but nothing compared to the old days. I mean, right now, most people, when they think of Colombia, they probably think of drugs and cartels. And while that's true, the country has had their fair share of problems in the past with illegal drugs. There's so much more to this country than that. Back in the 90s and late 80s, you would not dream of becoming an expat in Colombia. These days, I wouldn't say it's common, but it's happening a lot more than you'd probably guess. The crystal clear waters of the Caribbean coast, lush green mountains of the Andes, there's a lot to see and do in this country. In 2021, Colombia had a population of 51 million, a little bit over, and of that, 20% are considered white.
That's a big jump. What is this, Venezuela?
Number 7, Venezuela. Right next door to Colombia, we have Venezuela. Venezuela is a country located in South America that is known for its rich culture, stunning natural beauty, and unfortunately, its political and economic turmoil. Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare down there. Despite all the problems this country's faced in recent years, the people of Venezuela remain resilient. They're very optimistic people, and they got a lot of oil. They've had years where they're in the top 15 for the largest amount of oil produced, but generally they stay within the top 25. And they get a lot of oil spills too. There's actually a joke. Why did the Venezuelan go to the beach? To see all the oil wash ashore. A lot of oil industry Americans go down to Venezuela to live, to help out. At least they did in past years. Not as much these days with all their political turmoil, but Venezuela has a population of 28 million, and of that, 43% are considered white.
Wow, Brazil too? All of South
Number
America
6,
might as well.
Brazil. This one might surprise a lot of you. Probably surprised that they even made a list like this. But when you know their history, you realize a lot of Europeans colonized this land and continue to move there, especially during World War II. A lot of the German military that were able to escaped to Brazil. Brazil has a population of about 214 million residents, and of that, 47% are considered white.
Dang. Oh, Canada.
Number 5, Canada. The only thing that surprised me about this one is they're number 5 and not like number 2 or 3. I don't know if I'm going to the wrong places, but every time I go to Canada, I see nothing but white Canucks. Come to find out, that Great White North nickname has to do
I'm sure U.S. is going to be probably number 1 or 2.
With snow and not people. In 2021, the population of Canada was a little over 38 million residents. Wow. And of that, about 70% is considered white.
That makes sense. What? We number 4?
Number 4, the United States of America. That's right, here they are, the United States. Growing up in Southern California and spending a lot of time in the South when I was in the military and things like that, I would have thought this is impossible. There's no way that the United States has such a high rate of white residents.
Really?
Then I moved to Oregon, I'm all, oh yeah, okay, so that makes total sense now.
Yeah, there are certain cities or certain states that there's probably... there's probably more white people there, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing bad about that, but there's probably a chance that there is, I feel like it's more northern type of states, though. I can name a few, and those few is probably where it gets real cold at. There's probably ain't gonna be no people of color there at all. At
This
all.
is a great part of the video where I could probably tell you the history of the slavery thing and the colonization of the United States and the indigenous people, but since about 90% of my audience is from the United States, you already know that stuff. The population of the United States is 332 million residents, and of that, 75% are
I
considered
ain't gonna lie.
white.
I thought we were number 1 and number 2. Chile?
Number 3, Chile. Chile is known for a couple things: stunning landscape and their love of soccer or football, if you're not from the United States. From the Atacama Desert to the Andes Mountains to the Patagonia Glaciers, Chile's got it all. Did you know the Atacama Desert is the driest place on
Atacama
Earth? I always thought it was my stand-up comedy. The people of Chile are just as diverse as the landscape, with a mix of indigenous and European influences. The culture of Chile is really unique.
So
the
pretty much all
population
of
of
South
Chile
America.
is about 20 million residents, and of that,
Wow.
88% are considered white.
Interesting. What is that, Australia or New Zealand?
Number 2, Australia.
Australia.
This one, I'm not really surprised on this one. It started off
Probably
as a
not, probably
British, prison colony. Well, I mean, the Aboriginal people were there first, but the settlers were mostly convicts. Yeah, that's the truth. Australia, once known as New South Wales, was originally planned as a penal colony. Penal colony. In October of 1876, the British government appointed Arthur Phillip, captain of the HMS Sirius, and commissioned him to establish an agricultural work camp there for British convicts. One thing leads to another, and we get Crocodile Dundee. The original name the British gave it is now one of their territories or whatever. There's only a handful of good-sized cities in this country. It's a huge country. You got Brisbane, you got Sydney down New South Wales and Victoria, you got Melbourne, and you got
Brisbane.
Adelaide in South Australia, and then Western Australia, you got Perth. Other than that, you might find little towns or small cities like Darwin on the north side of Australia, and then down south of Perth, you got Margaret River. Then one of my favorite places, Coober Pedy. This is a town where a lot of the residents live underground. Yeah, they tunneled their way into the hillside to get away from the heat. If you ever decide to move to Australia, keep one thing in mind. You got to get some rue away. You spray it around your
Rue
yard
away.
and the rues won't get in your yard and box
Wow.
your kids. Australia has a population of about 26 million residents, and 92%
92.
of them are considered white.
That's a big percentage. I knew Australia was gonna be top 5. I ain't gonna lie, I thought we had probably a little bit more, but that makes sense. We at 78. To jump up to 92. That's different.
All right, before we get to number 1, if you guys haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd
Who's
really
number
appreciate
one?
it if you
Who's
did. We're
number
getting
one?
really close to 1 million subscribers, and I'd like to do it before summer. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just a click of a button, and it really, really helps us out. All right, on to number 1.
Argentina?
And number 1, Argentina. Who saw this one coming? This one was a surprise. I don't know a ton about Argentina, but I really didn't
Me
think it
either,
was
yeah.
going to be almost 100% white. There's Scandinavian countries that don't
Really?
have as high a percentage of white people that Argentina does. Argentina has a population of almost 46 million, and of that, 97% are considered white.
Dang.
All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys
Interesting.
enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be
That was interesting. It pretty much almost about South America. Outside of Europe, South America was the most. Which I guess it would make more sense, because in the other countries, you only have one African, of course, United States, Canada, when it comes to the Americas, but all the other Americas pretty much South America, which makes sense because, like I said, when people come from certain countries over, especially of the heritage of Hispanics and different things like that, they're considered white in America, at least by paperwork. That's what we had to change it to. But I guess Canada, United States, and Australia didn't surprise me. But I seen somebody, I was looking through the comments, somebody said they forgot New Zealand, so I wasn't sure when it came to New Zealand as well. That's why I was like, because the flag kind of, looks similar. So, but all in all, very interesting. Now I got to see the black. I'm pretty sure the blackest countries outside of Europe. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be all in Africa, just about. But we could do cities. I could try cities next and see for the black and white. Like I said, this is not to discriminate and talk. Oh, it's the black people. It's not here to talk about just race in that way, but just learning. Just learning, having some fun. But that's all I have for this video. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Hey, send me more video recommendations, suggestions. Give this video a thumbs up. Y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.